Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
This is WTF Nation Radio.
Fuck you, I'm on peanuts.
Surprise, motherfucker.
All right, everybody. How is everybody doing? This is a very, very beautiful Sunday, June 10th, 2018. And this is Kicking It With Koz. And on the other end of this line, got my good buddy Owl. What's going on, brother?
Hey, another beautiful day in paradise, as they say.
Hell yeah. It's hot. It's hot, it's hot, it's hot. But that's okay.
For you, maybe. we've been hitting the 70s and 60s here,
dude.
Yeah, I mean today, shoot, we got winds up in the 30s and 40s.
Shit, man. I'm not gonna see that until next winter.
Well, looks like our summer got delayed by a little bit, but that's okay, you know. I actually heard my furnace kick on.
And what was it, last week or the week before, I was fighting getting my air conditioner to work. It was out for like a week.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I know. You said it was kind of, it felt good, but it was different after being without the AC for a while.
Well, yeah, you know, your body adapts. And, you know, I had, I bought some box fans, so the air was circulating. But damn, dude, it's just, it was oppressively hot. And it didn't help that it was like 103 outside.
Ouch. Yeah.
I do live on a basement, not a basement, but it's a first floor apartment. And I'm surrounded by these huge oak trees. So there's a lot of shade. There's really no direct sun that hits the building. So my apartment stayed around 80, 83.
Well, that's not bad then.
It wasn't. I've been in worse situations, so it's no big deal. They offered me another apartment.
Yeah, you said that would, but Koz was the good person that he was, declined it so that another family because apparently several ACs in his complex were out, he actually said, why don't you let someone who has a family?
Yep.
Come on, ladies. This man is single.
You're trying to hook me up, man.
Hey, you know, why not?
You know, and if I do get married again, there's a new product out there. It's only in New Jersey though.
New Jersey chain. It is a chain. More than one.
Yeah, New Jersey-based pizza chain is offering couples the chance to be the first to sport some unusual new accessories: a pizza bouquet and boutonniere. How about that, man? And I'm looking at that going, this is pretty genius.
You know, it is. You look at it and it's like, I mean, it has everything on it. And the fact that it's edible, I know some brides probably would not enjoy such a thing.
Well, you know, you're going to get that, schmutzing up your dress and
well, go ahead.
And I'm really wondering what happens when the bride throws the bouquet.
Well, that, and also a lot of brides want a bouquet to be able to, for keepsake.
I don't think you want to save that.
No.
And here I am thinking, okay, it's 20 minutes before the wedding. So what do they keep that in the refrigerator or do they keep it in the oven before the?
I got to thinking about that too, and it's like, okay, would they? I mean, okay, it's not like you can have them rush it to you. So would you go get it the day before and put it in your refrigerator, and then take it out and warm it up, or what?
Or how long do you microwave that so it's warm?
And then if you over microwave it, can you imagine the mess?
True.
I mean, you're talking. What holds this together? I'm pretty sure some of it is cheese, and that cheese will just goop all over the place.
So, Via Italian Kitchen announced that it's holding a contest for engaged couples to receive the pizzeria's bouquets and boutonnieres for use at their wedding.
Oh,
The arrangements are made from pizza dough, mozzarella cheese, tomatoes, and pepperoni. The restaurant said it enlisted the help of New York food stylist Jesse Bearden to handcraft each piece.
Wow.
The pizza chain said entries which can be submitted on its website are open through June 15th, but participants must have their wedding planned for prior to September 30th.
Oh, jeez.
So anybody out there in the New Jersey area,
Hey, if you're out in the New Jersey area and you're getting up for a wedding, and you decide to go with this, get a picture. I would love to see.
I think it's going to be a hit, man, because it's not normal.
Yeah, and well, we all know we're just not normal people anymore. And I mean, I look at it and I have to sit there and say, okay, they even said boutonniere. And can you imagine? Okay, a lot of boutonnieres for women now are on their wrists, and men it's on their coats.
Mm-hmm.
I can imagine trying to put. I mean, if it goes bad, can you imagine? Because most guys rent their tuxedos.
Yeah, I bet it'll it might be a mess. It has the potential of becoming a mess and a disaster, but it's different.
I agree.
I think it's fun.
It's something to make you go and smile.
So I got another little bit of news that's not on your list because this is like one of those last minute things.
Okay.
But I thought this was kind of interesting since we're talking about females, and when a subject of females comes up, you think of Saudi Arabia and women's rights in Saudi Arabia, or the lack of rights. I mean, they just allowed women to get driver's licenses.
Yeah, I remember we actually had mentioned that not too long ago.
Right. But anyway, we're in the holy month of Ramadan, right?
Yep.
So there was a fashion show in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. I'm going to put a video up there. It's just really interesting because Saudi Arabia just held what might be the weirdest fashion show in history. Instead of having models showcase their dresses, organizers opted to use drones.
Yeah, I actually saw that, and I thought that was so odd. But I guess if you're gonna start doing this whole gender bender stuff in fashion shows, I mean, Saudi Arabia has this. They're not exactly for transgenders, gays, and men wearing dresses and stuff. And well, this is one way to get away from going with the obscure models.
Mm-hmm. Well, videos posted on Twitter of the event, which took place at the Hilton Hotel in the Red Sea port of Jeddah, show floating dresses on clothes hangers gliding down the catwalk, suspended from small black drones. The dresses, which included designs from Dolce & Gabbana, ripple in the air as onlookers in the glitzy hotel lobby peruse the items on offer. Others on Twitter had more serious criticisms, claiming that the use of drones instead of women further perpetuates the archaic and patriarchal restrictions on women in Saudi Arabia. The show's organizer, Ali Nabil Akbar, told BBC that the decision to use drones was suitable for the month of Ramadan and that he wanted to create something special to celebrate the Muslim holy month. I get it, but that's just weird, man.
Oh, but look at that sexy drone. Boy.
There's a lot of video out there, and I just grabbed this clip, but it's amazing. There's hardly anybody there, and the people that were there for the most part were like on their phones, not really paying attention.
You notice that too?
Yeah,
Well, it has to be. That's the one thing that I think that they didn't think through with this is it lacks presentation at that point.
it does. I mean, there was a lot of comments on Twitter saying it just looked like ghosts.
Yeah, I mean they could have done something to make it more of a showpiece, but just putting the drones with hangers. I mean, you could have put a mannequin in there or something. I mean, you look at that and you're just going, okay, that's neat technology-wise, and if you're a techno geek, that's great, but I don't think many techno geeks are going to be looking for model dresses.
Yeah. So after years of repression, Saudi women finally had gained the right to drive after Saudi Arabia's King Salman issued a royal decree last September. Some women have already received their licenses, but they won't be able to drive until June 24th. And in April, Saudi Arabia hosted its first ever Arab Fashion Week in the capital of Riyadh. These modest steps toward equality for women come with some complications. Although 10 women received their licenses this month, 17 women's rights activists who campaigned for greater gender equality have been jailed on suspicion of undermining the security and stability of the country. Saudi women are still forced to seek the approval of a male relative to carry out basic acts like getting a passport or traveling outside the country and even getting married.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
they've got a long way to go.
Hey, it's baby steps. It's all baby steps. I mean,
Well,
You
it's
can't-
also one of the oldest civilizations in the world. So they've had
Exactly.
plenty of time.
well, I like at least they're trying, as opposed to other countries that are actually trying to reverse the process.
Right. And I think that this prince is a little bit more in this century.
Yes, and that in fact that's the reason that a lot of people are worried because there's I seem to remember at some point worried that assassination has come up several times around him.
Right. I mean, and he's removed a lot of the old guard in his country, and that's bound to ruffle some feathers.
Oh, but if you think about it, he kind of had to. If he wouldn't have removed him, they would have been the first ones to. The minute he was looking the other way, here comes the knife.
Yeah. He's going to have to watch his back for a while.
Quite a while, and I think in some ways that's kind of why he's siding with us and Israel at this point, is because if he sides with the old guard, well, he's at that point. The first thing they're going to do is say, "Dude, you can't let your women do that."
Yeah, he's got to watch his back, man, because it's a country ruled by religion.
Yeah, exactly.
So if it appears that he is blaspheming, I guess the Quran, I think they might have something to say about that.
Yeah, they'll have issues, and I'm surprised he hasn't had those issues yet. But it's good to see. I mean, you feel good to see that he's being open-minded enough to go that way.
Yeah.
So it's a step in the right direction, and good for him. The whole show that speaks for itself. Definitely different, and definitely yeah. Boy, those were sexy drones, don't you think? Look at the propellers on those.
Hey, man, you've been out of the Army for a while. I've been out of the Army for a long time.
Yes, sir.
Did you ever think about going back in after you ETS'd? Or did you have the desire to go back in?
I didn't want to get out. I was medically retired. They actually had to, my doctor, my command sergeant major, and my first sergeant had to corner me. And explained to me that I was going to sign a piece of paper allowing myself to be put in medical company. I had no want, but I was instructed that there was no medication that would put me back to where I would be deployable.
So the Army, I guess, is another way of them maintaining their numbers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It says the Army appears to be looking to pad the numbers of reservists in certain fields, unleashing a new initiative to increase readiness in certain fields by pooling talent from the individual ready reserve. According to a press release by the 81st Readiness Division, the designed to bring skilled soldiers back on duty as a member of the Army Reserves while playing an important role in increasing unit readiness, targeting IRR troops who may wish to return to duty. I mean, dude, they got out for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing is, when they're on IRR, that means they got out honorably.
Mm-hmm.
And, if it wasn't for my medical status, would I go back in? I mean, I'm like the guy in the wheelchair in what's the name of it? Starship Troopers. I'd be the first one. Hey, military's what made me what I am. I'd be that guy sitting there doing whatever I can to help. So, I'm of the belief that there are a lot of guys out there that they get out and they want to go back in, and some of them wouldn't mind because they kind of feel disillusioned. They just don't know what their role would be, and they don't know, maybe they feel like they're too old or they can't keep up with it.
Yeah, James says it's a backdoor way for them to say that they made mission.
I agree with you, James. It is a backdoor way, but at the same time, this is where I can pull off of my experience back with the first Desert Storm. When the first Desert Storm hit, and they called up a whole bunch of IRRs, and believe it or not, after first Desert Storm, a lot of those IRRs actually asked to go active.
Yeah, I re-enlisted. I was, I did 4 years. I ETS'd because I thought I knew everything. Mm-hmm. And, God, it was hard to find a job. The job that I had, closed up like right after I'd worked for DynCorp for it was like maybe 2 months, 3 months.
Jeez.
And then everybody got furloughed, and I never got a call back. So I was like, well, son of a bitch. So I threw my resume around, and I got hired by, in Clarksville, there's a guy that owned several pizza shops and all the Ponderosas in town. And he called me up, and he's like, hey, man, do you want some stores? So I managed 2 Ponderosas and 3 pizza stores.
Hey. If it puts food on your table, right?
I ate a lot of steak. I was actually sick of steak and pizza. That's almost blasphemous to say, but I was really dude. I would come home with like several steaks and baked potatoes and whatnot.
Oh, see,
I wasn't hungry. I definitely did not starve.
Well, and that's just it. Is a lot of guys, and you're right. A lot of guys don't realize when they get out, they think they know it all. They think that hey, it's all you dealt with it. Now it's all gravy time, and you realize that being a civilian can suck, and sometimes not being being in the military had its advantages, and that whole balance. Some guys just can't put their tail between their legs and go back and say, I want to re-enlist. This gives them a chance to come back a little bit more honorably or feel honorable about it.
Yeah, it was an easy enough transition to come back in. I just got sick of it's not what I wanted to do. I did not want to manage restaurants for the rest of my life. And I was making good money. It wasn't about the money. I was just as much desire as I had to go back into my field. I work on aircraft. and to trade that for working in restaurants, it wasn't what drives me.
No, no, and that's the other thing. See, when I got out, I had worked in a job field that really it has a high burnout rate, and I got out and um, was going to go to college, and then realized that I was going to pay for a lot of college that had nothing to do with what I wanted to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you know what? I'm going to go back in and see what I can. I'm not sure I want to do what I want to do at this point because that just didn't sound appealing. And when I went back in, I actually got introduced to some areas in the military that I hadn't before, and that actually was pushing me towards helicopter pilot, and among other things. And so, yeah, I mean,
it was easy. It was easy to go back in, man. Because I called a recruiter, and I'm like, "Hey, dude, here's my social. Go ahead and pull. Here's a copy of my 214. What'll it take for me to get back in?" And he's like, "Well, do you want a new MOS or do you want to go back in your old MOS?" I'm like, "Well, I like my old MOS, so yeah, if there's an opening, I'd like to have it." So I went back in. I didn't lose any rank. I got a new issue of uniforms. And it was great, man. I drove, at that time I drove a 1976 Oldsmobile.
Yeah.
And no, it was a Dodge Monaco. It was an old Dodge Monaco. And I signed the title, and I put it on the dashboard, put the keys on top of the title. I left the door unlocked, and I got in the MEPS van, and off to Nashville I went. Dude, with just the clothes on my back and maybe a couple of changes. I left everything.
You know, when I went back in my second, or when I went back in, that's I had come to the realization that I just wasn't happy, and that back when I went in, they weren't giving you the option to change MOSs, so I had to go back in the same MOS, but I kept my rank because I'd only been out 6 months, and it wasn't a bad deal. So yeah, I mean, there's always options out there. And you know, guys, that if you're thinking about it, and I mean, like I say, the IRR, you can get back in. It's a chance to get back in something you want to be. I mean, it's not all gravy when you get out. A lot of us will attest to that.
Yeah, so active duty soldiers transitioning into the IRR are eligible to participate, with soldiers holding previous experience as administrative specialists, mechanics, motor transport operators, or other high-demand occupational specialties they are taking priority. If selected, soldiers serve up to 29 days on annual training as an applicant. If approved, the soldier has an opportunity to serve full-time on active duty for operational support, leading to a full-time military technician or MilTech position. Some soldiers are currently looking into the program, with many citing the stability of military life, pay, and benefits. Quote, "This sounded like a good opportunity for good benefits and pay," says 6-year veteran specialist David Mull, who spent 1 year in the IRR. It'll help bring some stability for me and my family. I get it. I get it, man.
Well, I see what they're doing. They're actually not putting you full active. They're doing active duty. They're basically making you active duty reserve.
Right.
And see that I know. See, that's the problem. Is a lot of people don't like holding the active, or they either want to be active duty or they don't want to be. There are very few that'll hold the active duty reserve status, especially in those jobs, because there's a lot of back and forth with it. But then what they do, I know some guys who did it, and what they do is, because they become active duty reserve, they put in their active duty reserve time, and then a lot of times the job opens up on the civilian side as a GS, so they work both sides of the fence.
Yeah, you can have that flexibility.
Yeah, and they end up loving it. They get the full benefits on both sides, and I mean that's not a bad deal.
So I wonder if they, if they're working a GS position and they're active reservists, if that doubles up on their retirement.
It actually does because it's two separate retirements.
Right.
You get the reserve retirement, I think, at the age of 62 or 65, and then you get the GS at starting at 25 years, and then at 30 years you go to 75% and so forth.
Not a bad deal. I mean, it's just like getting out, spending. I had a neighbor across the street from me. He was in the Marine Corps. He got out of the Marine Corps and he went and he was a retiree. He did like 22 or 25 years, and after he got out, he went and worked for the post office.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's a great one. The only downside is immediately you're expected to pay for your if you want to how do they say it? If you want to be able to claim your time, you have to pay for the years.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
If you put in 20 years, you have to pay so much money for them to allow you to claim the years into your pay. And then you don't like if you put in 20, it'll actually only count as 10 towards retirement. So you have another 20 to put in before you're actually considered retired. Yeah, you're right, James. You got to buy it. Buy back your time. So
It kind of sounds a little bit like a scam, but I understand it. I mean, why go?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're going to sit there and go 20 years and then and they say, okay, you have to retire at 30 years in postal, well, you only got 10 more years left. That's not fair to the post office, and that's not fair to the retirement system of the post office.
Yeah, because you'd be double dipping, I guess.
Well, yeah, they don't mind you double dipping as long as you're not screwing them over, so to speak. So that's where you buy back some of that. You buy back your years,
Mm-hmm.
and that goes actually. It's supposed to go towards your pension. So,
any idea how much that costs?
No, I never applied. Well, actually, I did apply for federal, and that back then they explained I had in X amount of years, and the buyback was going to be somewhere around $20,000.
Ouch.
But they'd allow me to pay it in installments.
Oh, of course. I mean, who's got 20 grand just floating around?
Exactly. And so that was the idea. They said, and instead of you being considered 10 years, it will go depending on how much you pay, because I was buying back 11 years. They said we'll put you, or it would take me down to like 7 or 8.
Okay, that's not bad.
No. So then instead of having to put in 30 for 75%, I would actually have to put in 22 or 23. So I can't really say that was a bad deal. I mean, time is time.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, you kind of walk into that job with tenure almost.
Oh, when I applied, there were 100 applicants, and there was one guy who beat me out. And the only reason he beat me out was because he had actually worked that specific job 5 years in the military. Otherwise, because I had been an NCO and because I had worked in the position and around the position for 2 or 3 years, that's the only reason he beat me out. We were both 100%. We were both disabled. I mean, we were exactly the same on paper, except for he had like 2 years on me.
Yeah, so it was an apples to apples comparison.
Exactly.
Except he was a juicier apple.
Yeah. But that's okay. It all worked out in the end. had I took that job, I probably would have ended up regretting it, because within like 4 or 5 months after I that job had gone by, my disability had actually took a turn for the worse. So I don't know that I would have been able to work.
Right. But you're all better now.
I'm getting there. I'm working on it. Shoot, the weather we're having today, I'm feeling it.
Oh, dude, did you hear that they found WMDs in the White House?
You know, I had actually kind of heard about that. Yeah.
It was, I mean, of all places, you'd think it would be in a cellar or like hidden somewhere, but this WMD in particular was in the kitchen.
That's what I heard. Do tell.
The White House is currently housing weapons of mass destruction, and they're apparently being held in the kitchen. If Donald Trump ever decided to can the White House chef, the Washington Redskins could probably use him as a middle linebacker. His name is Chef Andre Rush, and he is the head chef to President Trump. That dude is massive. A tweet from Vivian Salama, who is a White House reporter, got lots of comments inquiring about Chef Rush. Andre Rush is a retired Army Master Sergeant chef who currently prepares nutritionally balanced meals at the White House and is a master chef trained in classical plating, baking, cake decoration, and is a master ice carver.
You know, you think about chefs, usually they've got to test their food, so they've got to be, big and round. Dude.
that dude is a brick shit house, man.
Yeah, and the funny part is, and this is something that I learned, is a lot of the master chefs that the White House gets come from the military. I found this out because when I served at a major medical center, our chef for the hospital had actually worked in the White House. And he said that normally, chefs, they try to find them in the military, and they actually find them a lot of times in the Army. Everybody talks about how bad of food we got, but man.
I've seen pictures of him before because I follow the White House on Twitter, and he was in the kitchen, and General Mattis was there for Memorial Day, and they were preparing food, and he had to keep General Mattis away from the grill.
That, but I don't doubt that he had an easy time about that with those arms. Crap.
That guy's just.
I know. You just sit there and you look at it, and look at him, and you're like I said, I've known a lot of chefs. I have a brother-in-law who's considered a master chef, and he's actually a judge out there for pastries. And he, I love him to death, but he's a little bit around. He's a little round, dude. This guy, I applaud him. He's not one of the typical chefs out there. I mean, he could be a football player.
Definitely.
Good for him. Things that make you go, wow. I mean, he could actually protect the president.
Right? Like have him. Was that Steven Seagal was a cook?
I was thinking that. Steven Seagal on that one movie where he's I'm a chef too. You have to sit there and go, yeah, okay, he was a chef.
Oh man.
Oh, that's
we're moving right along here.
Yeah, we're doing pretty good. Speaking of, okay, the White House and all of our nice congressmen and such, the The U.S. House of Representatives approved June 8th an amendment that will increase funds by $5 million for equine programs that assist military veterans in dealing with post-traumatic stress.
That's really good news.
Yeah, I was going to say, and we know someone who probably is happy to hear this one.
Yeah, I'll bet you Pat and Andy Brown and Patrick Benson and all those guys at War Horses for Veterans are probably very excited about that.
I know. I mean, it was submitted by Kentucky Republican Representative Andy Barr. The amendment directs, appropriators to transfer $5 million from the VA's Health Administration, medical community care account to the medical services account for the explicit use for the VA's Adaptive Sports Grant Program. Equine assisted therapy. The American Horse Council sent a letter of support June 4th to House Rules Committee Chairman Representative Pete Sessions, urging the committee to rule the Barr Amendment in order so that it could be adopted on the House floor.
That's just really good news, man. I mean, that picture that's up there right now is actually from War Horses for Veterans. That's the round pen.
And people don't realize there are a lot of therapies, excuse me, that do help in some way. I mean, with PTSD, it's kind of an individual fit, and War Horse for Veterans truly tries to help veterans who have PTSD. And the fit for this, many people, I mean, Jay Reddy, he moved. He dropped everything and moved because it was so instrumental to him and so deep to him that he felt the need to be there and be a part of this activity. And the fact that they have decided to actually put funds aside to help these type of equestrian activities says so much.
I'd like. I think my only hang up on that is they didn't appropriate new money. They just reassigned money that was going to the VA.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I mean, I don't agree with the way a lot of funds are handled in the House or by the Senate and Congress as it is. The fact that they pulled money from the VA, it's kind of okay, maybe at least that money we know is being used right. But at the same time, it's still money away from veterans. That why didn't they just go ahead and say, let's pull money from other places that we know is fatty, and let's put it towards this. That would have made more sense to me.
Right. I mean, I think I would have rather liked to see I don't know. And this is, I'm just spitballing here, man. Just take some of that money that's going to some of the millions that are going to Planned Parenthood and put it toward this.
Oh, I agree. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, is it Rand Paul, one of the senators that comes out every year with a book of misused money or fatty money?
Oh yeah.
And I mean, if they just pulled that book out and said, okay, you know what? All right. They said 5 million. Okay, let's go ahead and do this. And let's just go down the list until we get to 5 million and say, okay, that's it. And shut down those programs. I mean, Trump is doing a lot of things that I can really appreciate. I'm not for or against him, but I do appreciate the fact that one, he's keeping to his promises, and two, he's backing the veterans up. And he's backing us up in the right way.
It's really good to see a president out there who actually is a pro veteran. He's pro America.
Exactly.
It's good. It's good to have someone there that actually loves the country.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's there for us, and I'm not. I mean, we don't have the time, nor is this is our show the place for me to rant about my whole EU conspiracy and globalist conspiracy. But Trump is actually, when you watch him, he is not pro-globalist. He is actually pro-America.
And that's actually being shown at the at the G7 summit.
Oh, wasn't that fun? You saw that picture, right? You saw the picture of him at the G7?
Oh yeah, when he's sitting down and like everyone else is standing up, and Merkel looks like she's lecturing him.
Yeah, I mean, and he just had his arms crossed, and he's looking there like, what? What'd you expect?
Well, and he had a really good. He broke it down Barney style, man. He's just like all these other countries treat the United States as a piggy bank, and they raid the piggy bank every year.
Oh yeah.
And he says, he basically said it's time for everyone to pull their own weight.
Well, that's the problem, and this is okay. I'm not. I promise not to go too far into this. I really do. But the problem is the EU is running out of money. Europe, the euro, is not doing that well. There are countries that are starting to pull out of the euro, and that's because everybody was basically relying on Germany. Well, Germany is not supporting it as well as they want to be, and what they were hoping is good old Smillery would win, and she was ready to hand us over to the EU and put us in the euro, and boom, data boom, we would be banking the euro at that point.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen. And at this point, they want who else? They want Trump to get on board. They're trying to shame him. They're trying to, I mean, look at the fact that Kerry goes behind Trump's back. Look at the fact that Obama's gone behind Trump's back. All these people are going behind his back, going overseas, sitting there calming people down. I don't want them calm. I want them to realize they got to be on their own. They actually have to take care of their people. At some point, if they don't, their people are going to rise up and they're going to regret it. Hey, look at the French Revolution. It can happen.
So anyway, just to get back onto the subject, we were talking about $5 million being reassigned to be used toward specifically equine therapy for veterans.
And that is so great. I mean, I know Miss Pat and their group, they have to be jumping up and down for joy, because even if they don't see much of that, that's acknowledgement, and that's just a starter.
Yeah, there's not, and I don't know, War Horses for Veterans is one of the only equine therapy places that I know of. I've been there, and it was really, really awesome, man. If you guys don't know, War Horses for Veterans is a 3-day equine therapy program in Stillwell, Kansas. The program is free to all combat veterans. This includes airfare, lodging, and meals. Dude, they will buy your ticket. They will pick you up at the airport. They'll take you to a nice hotel. You get your own room. It's not like you're all shacking up in the same room. Everyone gets their own room. The next morning, you'll get a ride to the ranch, and then you start. You'll get introduced to the horses, and you start working with the horses. If you want to ride, you can ride. If you don't want to ride, you don't have to ride. It's meant to go as a group. So, if some guys in your squad, you guys were in Iraq or Afghanistan or wherever, get everybody together. Go to warhorseforveterans.com and fill out the application, and you'll get scheduled. And you guys all show up there, so it'd be like a reunion with you and your buddies, it's great, man. It's not like everyone's sitting around a campfire and kumbaya, and it's just a super relaxing time, man. You can get out of your head for a weekend, and you don't have to worry about anything, because everything's taken care of. Pat and Andy Brown have a beautiful house. And you walk in there, and it's just, there's not a stranger there. That's your house for the weekend. There's a pool there. You can go swimming. Work with the horses. I can't say Too many good things about it, man. It's just it's a really good time. It's extremely therapeutic without being therapeutic.
Well, get, just getting away, separating yourself, disconnecting is therapeutic. Having some form of animal therapy, especially animals that are as intelligent as horses, is also very therapeutic. And getting people outside their comfort zone, but at the same time being comfortable, not making it pressurized. That's
It was really. I mean, I don't know if it was a comfort zone thing. I used to ride horses when I was younger, like 10.
yeah.
And I really hadn't been near a horse. My daughter, my oldest daughter, took horse riding lessons. And she seemed to enjoy it, but I didn't work with those horses at all. It's just, it was a new experience. They hand you the little whip and they, Patrick tells you what to do. And then the next thing you know, man, you're controlling this 1,000-pound animal with your body.
Well, and that's just it. Is they're there for you, and you're there for them. And they've really, from what I heard, I have not personally been there, but I've heard a lot about it, and I've heard nothing but good things, and that's great. That will it has merit. It has many merits to its approaches, and so therefore, if that sounds like something you need, don't hesitate. Go to the main page. There are links to it that will take you, and you fill out an application, and if you've got some buddies that were there that you all kind of need it, hey, this will help all of you, and it's a chance for all of you to be there for each other while someone else is being there for you.
Yeah, I mean, you're well taken care of. Lots of conversation and just BSing and no stress at all. None.
And Casey's pointing out that because Casey had visited, and she knows that. Yeah, anybody in the room, hey, don't hesitate. It's not going to cost you. They pay for everything, so all you have to do is be there.
Yeah, it cost me $28, and that was just to park my car at the airport. That was it.
So don't hesitate. I mean, there are things out there for us veterans, and this is one of them that is being acknowledged as helpful. The fact that they're putting money into it says a lot. So don't hesitate, guys. It helps you get out of your head. It's kind of, that's why we're here too, is to help you get out of your head and just be a part of the family.
Yeah, we went with it was a large group. It was a large group of folks from the station. Let me see. Mom was there. I was there. Minx was there. Redleg, Bobby. Oh gosh, I know I'm missing. Pie was there.
Wow.
It was a big group. It was a real big group. Normally they like to keep it 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Small groups are easier to manage.
Oh yeah.
And you don't get lost in the mix.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, go get with your squad, man, or your buddies.
That to me, if I were you guys, that sounds to me like a great way to get help and to disconnect. You guys hear me all the time talking about a disconnect. I go camping personally. That's what I do. But you got to do it. That's how you're going to help yourself.
And it's like, it's like a family too, because once you go there and go through the program and come back, it's not over.
No.
Everyone exchanges emails and phone numbers, and you're more than welcome to come back. The only thing is, bring a buddy. That's the only stipulation. Bring a buddy. And again, if you're going to return, let them know. They'll send you a plane ticket.
The one thing I've noticed is someone from Warhorse for Veterans inadvertently comes into the chat room several times a week and says hi. I think it's mainly because they're part of the family. They're part of WTF Nation family also.
Yeah, we're partners.
And they check in on some of us, and check in on some of the people that are in the room, and that's a good thing. Again, that's what we're here for. And that's what they're here for.
Yeah.
So they're getting better funds, and that's good to hear.
Miss Pat just had a birthday, and then she had a fundraiser. Because they want to build an enclosed arena.
I've heard that.
And these things take money, and they're 501c3, so they're not for a nonprofit.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're bleeding money.
No,
they
no.
just actually it's kind of like they are bleeding money, because that's Pat and Andy's ranch.
Yeah.
And Patrick's there as like the chief horse guy.
Yeah. And you'll also get to see Jay Reddy walking around there.
Yeah, Jay Reddy's there every weekend.
That's his it's his love.
I think Minx is going up there shortly. Not to go through the program again, but just to she's going to swing by, see some friends, and then stop by the ranch and say hi.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things. If you're in the area, it's, again, if you participated in it, it's part of your heart. So I have not gone, but I have heard nothing but good things. So I'm glad to hear that there's now money being put towards it, because I agree it sounds like a justifiable way to get some therapy, and to get at the same time a disconnect, which is kind of what's needed when you're trying to help yourself.
Yeah.
So,
hey, I think we're going to take a break.
Yeah.
A couple of minutes early. I wanted to. It's too late to get into this next story, which is it's going to be a good story. We're playing catch and release with ISIS terrorists, and this isn't necessarily a bad thing.
It has its upsides and downsides. All right. Well, then why don't we go ahead and take a break? And that gives everybody, I know I'm the old man, it seems, of the group. So I'll call it the old man break.
Yeah, I need to get a drink. I didn't bring a beverage in here, so I got to go grab a Gatorade or something.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to be back in just a couple of minutes, man. Hold tight.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
This is Eric Stolhansky, and you're listening to WTF Nation Radio.
And we're back. Short break. It was only about 7 minutes long.
Not bad at all.
So here we are for part 2 of Kicking It with Koz. I am the host, Koz. And I'm here with Owl, and we're listening to a little bit of beatbox stuff.
And I am the Owl. And it's good to see all of you out listening to us this evening. It's always good to have a group of familiars and some new people.
Yeah, I've seen some new faces come in and out.
Yeah. And that's always nice.
Oh, Joe's got my dream car, man.
I saw that. I don't know. I bet you could get Joe to trade you.
Yeah, dude, I've got a 2001 Honda CRV. We'll just trade.
I think Joe wants more something like a big old dually diesel or something. That he'd probably trade for that.
Yeah, I've always loved the Chevelle. 70 Chevelle would be my on my wish list.
Yeah, see. Yeah, there's Joe. Yup, straight up. Yeah, I like my cars, but I kind of fell in love with diesel trucks, so I know all that terrible emission and everything else. But
You know, the only reason I don't like diesels is
what's that?
because it just reminds me of being in the motor pool.
Oh, okay. That whole smell thing.
Yeah, it's a smell thing.
I do hear that on occasion with guys saying that they can't take. In fact, when I go out camping, some of the guys will sit there and they have gas engine. It's like you realize that that's not the best thing to pull it with, and like, yeah, but I can't deal with diesel smell. And straight up, that's the only reason they didn't go with them. Which, that's part of PTSD is sometimes certain things trigger us. But yeah, and now he's bragging. There's a 70 Chevelle with a Duramax stuff in it pulling 9-second quarter miles. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of conversions out there. I've seen some really beautiful cars. There's even oh geez, a lot of times they'll throw the Cummins, the early Cummins, into half or quarter tons, and they'll even throw them into Jeeps.
Wow.
Oh yeah, and I haven't been as active the last year or two, but I used to be active in truck rallies, and we would actually have a 2 or 3 day truck rally, and the first day is where you show, and then you do the they say show, blow, and drag. You show and blow, where you actually get on a dyno and actually clock out your trucks to see how much horsepower they pull, and then the last day you do dragging. And I've seen some trucks go as quick as less than 8 seconds and 7 seconds on our track out here.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I mean they are just, and I mean these guys get into it. They got sponsors, and with me, I mean I just have my truck so I can pull my RV. But there are some guys you can't even use them for pulling with what they do after they're done with them. And then you got the guys. This one guy did it all himself, hand done. Took a Cummins and put it in a Jeep. I mean, you have to redo the frame, the engine frame, and everything. I mean, he just the motor mounts, everything. He did it all himself.
That's amazing, man. It have a lot of torque.
Oh, the power, because there's hardly any body weight. Those things just boogie. I mean, my truck, I mean, it weighs somewhere around 70 or around 8,500 pounds, and I have twin turbo, and I actually, when I'm feeling froggy, will actually sometimes, and here we go, I will actually challenge sports cars going on to the interstate ramps. In other words, going on to the interstate, the on ramps, I'll actually challenge them on them and try to get around them. And I actually do. I win sometimes. So, no, it's with diesels, it's kind of its own little lifestyle. But getting into cars, yeah, if I were to get into a car, I think silly it sound, I like the Comets. My own thing.
So before the break, we were talking, or I mentioned the fact that I wanted to get into this story.
Oh yes.
Which is kind of it's a catch and release thing with an ISIS guy. So the Trump administration's plan to release a suspected American ISIS fighter caught in Syria back to Syria is facing a legal challenge from civil rights groups. And it's being decried as a death sentence for that guy. The unidentified man, who holds dual Saudi-U.S. citizenship, has been held in Iraq by the United States military for about 9 months. The United States government attempt to transfer the American into Iraq or Saudi Arabia failed in April after a U.S. District Court judge, Tanya Chutkan, blocked the release. Last month, a federal appeals court panel upheld the ruling. The Pentagon is now seeking to release the detained American near where he was captured by Syrian Democratic forces and turned over to the United States military, according to a declaration filed in U.S. District Court in Washington. Quote, upon his release, the petitioner will be given $4,210 in cash, which is the same amount that he had in his possession when he was captured, said the Pentagon official. He will also be provided with a new cell phone in its original sealed packaging, which he can activate and use if he desires to. He will be provided sufficient food and water to last for several days. The official said that the planned release is considered to be safe and that it complied with traditional military practice. But the plan is facing legal challenges from the American Civil Liberties Union, the ACLU, which represents the unnamed man. The group opposes his release into Syria and sued Secretary of Defense James Mattis and the Department of Defense. Instead of offering a safe release, they want to dump an American citizen onto the side of the road in a war-torn country without any assurances of protection and with no identification. The Trump administration has effectively admitted that it has no reason to detain our client and he doesn't pose a threat. But instead of offering a safe release, they want to dump an American citizen onto the side of the road. The release of the man into a war-ravaged country should happen this week, but the ACLU lawsuit is expected to delay that action. The alleged ISIS fighter reportedly declined the two release options, either be in a town or near an internally displaced persons camp. The unnamed man denies that he went to Syria to fight for ISIS, and he said he only went there to document the violence there. So I don't know.
I'm sorry, that just doesn't sound right in any way, shape, or form as far as what he's saying. If you're caught over there, you're caught over there. And the people were being told if you go over there, you're going to be seen as part of an extremist. In other words, you're looking to get into the war. And the fact that he was over there with that amount of money, I mean, he does. I have to laugh. What's he want us to do? He says he has dual American citizenship. He basically wants to be allowed to be in here and become a lone wolf. That's what it really sounds like.
And from what I understand from that article, Saudi Arabia doesn't want him.
No. Well, of course they don't. What was it? We've even, I mean, if you look at it, they were offered to put him in an area that might be, nobody would recognize him, and he could just basically wander in, and he could become a part of the surroundings.
Yeah, I mean, I'd give the guy some identification.
Well, yeah, of course, but at the same time, I mean, he's going to have to go somewhere, and we don't want him. That's basically what we're trying to say. And the ACLU has, in my eyes, they're picking a lot of fights that at this point in time, it's no longer, they're supposed to be about American civil liberties. Okay. American. Okay. This guy, at the point where he no longer claims, they say he's dual citizenship, but the minute he starts claiming he's no longer fully an American citizen and he was caught over there with money, wandering around, looking like he's looking for trouble, I'm sorry, at that point, you don't go over there to document something without someone knowing that you're documenting it.
And it's not like it's a hobby.
Exactly.
I mean, everything looks suspicious with this guy. I don't know all of the details on it. Maybe it's totally legit. Who knows? I think that if he got busted actually plotting against Allied forces over there, then he would be prosecuted. But there's no charges have been filed against this guy. So either the evidence that we have is faulty, or there's not enough, or it's all circumstantial. So they're just going to let him go.
Well, and that's just it. A lot of times it is circumstantial. I mean, until someone actually picks up a gun and is caught shooting at us, or they have their fingerprint on a bomb or whatever, we can't prove that they're violent. But when you're caught in the area and you're doing something and you don't, I mean, if he could have sat there and said, "Hey, look, I'm over here and I'm going to I'm going to do reporting on violence here," and he could sit there and say he has, credentials, that's one thing. But just someone wandering over there saying, "I want to document violence," I'm sorry, if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck and it poops like a duck, it's a duck.
You think? I mean, if it were me, I would definitely register at a consulate of some sort,
Oh, yeah.
and have them provide me credentials, press credentials. You don't just walk in with a freaking camera.
No, you don't walk in with a freaking camera. You don't sit there and wander around with a bunch of money in your pocket. And you don't sit there and, I mean, one, someone needs to know that you're there. Two, especially if you're talking about walking into a war-torn area. I mean, either he's really smart or he's really stupid. I mean, either he's really smart and he managed to get away with not being considered traitor, or he's really damn stupid and didn't think that maybe he should document that he's going over there, and maybe he should have checked in and said, "Hey, if I go over there and this happens, this is what I'm doing, and will you back me?" So on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of brainage here. So he's either one or the other. I mean, come on, people.
Yeah, you got to be smart about it, man. It's your life.
Yeah, and I mean, if he was just stupid, and I mean, it's sad if he was just stupid. Well, he's learned a life lesson that I'm sure he's not going to forget. And
I wish him luck.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of he's kind of in a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
Not Iraq, but A-Rock. If he's just going to be set free in Syria, it's an uphill battle, dude.
Oh, yeah. Well, at that point, I would say, the French Foreign Legion is willing to wipe your record clean. The French Foreign Legion, see if you can become a conscript in Israeli army. That'll help get you on America's better side.
Okay, so someone send Spanky a message. If is Spanky in the room?
I don't see her.
Because we're going to be talking about cake beer.
Yeah, I don't see her. Let's see.
Oh, well. The thing is, it's like a snack, so maybe she'll show up.
Yeah.
So there's a brewing company in New York has just joined with an ice cream maker so consumers can have their cake in a beer. Captain Lawrence Brewing Company, Fudgy the Beer, is a take on Carvel's Fudgy the Whale ice cream cake that's formed in the shape of a whale. This stout beer is brewed with the ice cream maker's signature chocolate and fudge, and it's 6% alcohol by volume.
Wow.
The brewery says that the beer pairs well with smoked foods and chocolate desserts.
Oh, wow.
The first batch of Fudgy the Beer sold out, and the second batch will be available Friday, so this was available 2 days ago.
Yep.
The beer will be available only at Captain Lawrence's Beer Hall in Elmsford, New York.
Wow.
So I don't know where that is, Branko, but go get you a can of Fudgy the Beer, and tell us how it is.
That's a high volume of alcohol for a cake.
Well, it's a beer. It's a beer.
I know, but still.
I saw it. I saw someone said, "Yeah, I bet it tastes like vomit."
Oh God.
You know,
Well,
I'd try it, I think.
There's a lot of things. If it wasn't for the fact I can't really drink alcohol, that I would try. I mean, since I've not been able to drink, there's a lot of alcohols have come out, microbrewery and all that. And I've just sat there going, that would really be nice. I mean, there's some ones that just really sound good. This is one that would be pushing my limit, but I do like fudge.
I'd definitely try it. I won't. I won't poo-poo it.
Well, I think it'd be good as a dessert drink. And there's some foods out there like smoked was it salmon and ribs and stuff. There are foods that need a good sugar after them. And if it's hot out, hey, a sugar beer. Why not?
Yeah, like I said, it'd be worth a shot.
Yeah. Why not?
We should waterboard the Syrian ISIS guy with that stuff.
Another waterboarder in here, huh? Oh.
You know who else needs to be waterboarded?
I think we could all come up with a list.
Yeah, this jackass from West Point grad. He graduated from West Point, and he's actually a commissioned officer serving in the 10th Mountain Division.
I don't. If the nation doesn't remember, this story has been brought up once or twice.
Yeah, we've talked about it a couple of times. Like when he graduated, these pictures were leaked or released or whatever.
Yeah. And I mean, it makes you sick to your stomach. The fact that he managed, and the fact is they knew he was this way, and nobody thought that maybe they should do something about it. Kind of made you sick to your stomach, especially since he was, he's supposed to be one of our military finest. But, well, stupidity does come around.
and he had to take an oath.
Yeah. I mean, that's the funny part is if he would have been smart, he would have resigned as soon as he did that. He would have resigned because the minute he did it, and then he took the oath, because I don't believe they're actually officers until they actually they finished the academy, and then they actually take the oath, and they're a second lieutenant.
Yeah, I wonder how difficult the rest of his life's going to be. So the story reads, West Point graduate and now former Army infantry officer Spencer Rapone has been processed out of the United States Army, and he received an other than honorable discharge from the military after a photo he posted with his West Point cap and the words "Communism will win" went viral. Rapone came under fire last year for his social media posts of socialist and communist content. He went viral after posting a photo to Twitter of himself in support of professional football player Colin Kaepernick, where Rapone is seen in his West Point uniform at graduating, holding his cap that contains a piece of paper inside that says "Communism will win." After posting the photo, Rapone was discovered to be a vehement communist propagandist and official socialist organizer of the Democratic Socialists of America. Rapone's social media was filled with up to hundreds of posts, messages, and photos that were being circulated around the military and civilian communities. Rapone had also posted a photo of himself in uniform, as he is seen wearing the Che Guevara T-shirt that you can see right there on the screen. Che Guevara was an Argentine Marxist revolutionary who believed that the poor people of Latin America would be saved by communism. Rapone was an infantry officer in the 10th Mountain Division at Fort Drum. He deployed to Afghanistan and received a combat infantryman's badge. An other than honorable discharge means Rapone will not be entitled to VA benefits or his GI Bill. His social media accounts were at one point set to private after his photos went viral. His Twitter account was set to protected, and his Instagram account had been taken down. His Facebook where he goes under the name Giuseppe Impastato, was private. Today, his Twitter account is again public. Rapone, whose Twitter handle is Punk Proletarian, recently retweeted posts from Rory Fanning, an ex-Army Ranger, who says that he will be interviewing Rapone at the conference Socialism 2018. Rapone is listed as one of the speakers for that conference, which is slated for early July in Chicago. According to his biography, Rapone said he could no longer stomach the immorality of U.S. imperialism. He spoke out against the reprehensible actions of the military in September of 2017. He ultimately resigned his commission and was separated from the Army this month with an other than honorable discharge. I'm really glad that he's out.
You and me both. I was wondering. I mean, some of the things that he believes in, they believe in actually infiltrating military and spreading and trying to get subordinates to turn and actually follow communistic ways. That's part of what they consider the infiltration into government.
And the thing is, I imagine that investigation didn't take very long. It really didn't, because we talked about this right after that West Point graduation last year.
Yeah,
which was about a year ago.
And we also talked about just a couple months ago the fact that they had started the investigation because he went into the Ranger Mountain Division, and the Mountain Division wasn't happy about him at all.
Yeah, I think he is actually a tabbed Ranger too.
Yes, he is. I mean, they put all this money into him.
Or scrolled, not tabbed. He's scrolled.
Okay. They put all that money into him, and that's the sad part about this, is they put all that money into him to get him to graduate. And now they have to turn around and kick him out because they said, and I remember when I was reading about it, that one of his professors actually encouraged him to be more extreme. And that's the one thing that bothers me is what I would hope that they're investigating every facet of this, including how this happened in West Point, of all places.
Right.
Because, okay, yeah, less than honorable. Yeah, he's going to be kind of having problems for the next, I don't know, rest of his life when it comes to jobs, because the only thing that he's going to be able to do is if he can generate his own job, or he can get employed by a sympathizer, meaning a socialist or a communist. Otherwise, I know guys who have gotten less than honorable discharges, and it really messes with your life.
Well, of course, he can probably petition after several years to get a.
Normally, it's 5 years.
Is it 5 years? I don't know, man. I earned an honorable discharge, so I don't have to worry about that.
I know about it mainly because I've had to work with people as a minister who have gotten less than honorable.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them, you can sit there and go, yeah, okay, you can at least get, it's better if they can get it up to at least a general, or sometimes they can even get it up to a little bit higher. But with something like this, the possibility, because of the way he is, if he shows up on anybody's radar, anytime he can petition as many times as he wants. If he shows up on anybody's radar as still going with these activities, he'll never get anything changed on his discharge.
Well, see, I'm just thinking about the process. I mean, have you ever conspired against the United States government?
Yeah.
That's what he's about. So he had to answer no on that.
Well, and that's just it. I mean, there's so many things they could have nailed him on. And when you look into what nobody would tell what they exactly put him out on, but it comes down to they didn't go for the hardcore stuff. They just got him out quickly. So they went out on something very obvious.
Well, Tom Alexander says, anyone notice the KGB agent to his right in the sunglasses on a cloudy day? Good observation.
There you go. So no,
it would be interesting to see what his family felt about that.
Yeah, I mean, kids can do stupid stuff. Kids, especially when you're young, you're impressionable, and you can sit there and believe in something, and when you realize what you're really saying wasn't what you can grow older and grow wiser. Okay?
Well, if I remember correctly, when we reported this a year ago, his parents were interviewed, and his dad's just like, I don't know where he got this from.
Well, and that's just it, and that's the question. And I remember reading that there was a pretty radical professor that kind of took him under his wing, and that was even reported. And that's where I sit there and go, okay, if people knew this was going on, and this was the article was wrote by someone inside the academy, and you sit there and say, if this person's noticing this, then why isn't it being investigated?
Well, right, and it's not like he's not like the only, and I can't get my head around this, because you can't be like that by yourself. You need a support structure around you. So, I mean, are there other cadets that he hung out with and they share the same opinions?
Well, and that's part of what is brought up is he's the dumb one. He advertised himself.
Oh, big time. There's all kinds of pictures of him.
Okay, how many were the smart ones who sat there and said, I'm not getting near you, buddy, but we're part of his support group? That is the question. Because as much as I love our military academies, they've allowed themselves to become more and more like colleges, in where they're opening up their doors to radicalism when they're supposed to be teaching military tradition.
Yeah.
And so they already even named the professor in that article a couple months back. And then they sit there and they point out in this article, okay, this is the stupid one. There's always the stupid one that sits there and say, hey, look at me, thinking he's untouchable. Okay, how many of them were sitting there going, I support you, but I'm putting my hands up. I don't want to be near you because I'm going to infiltrate just like I wanted to do. So you have to think this. And if I was the military at that point in time, I would be looking at all the people who were signing in and looking at his stuff. I would confiscate his computers. I would go into anything he logged into at the academy, and I would be going hard.
But the thing is, he didn't, and I'm just doing the devil's advocate thing here, he didn't do anything illegal. His behavior is unbecoming of a United States military officer. So I'm thinking maybe that was what he was put out on. I mean, it's like, it's like you have a football team, but one of your players plays for the other team, but he's on your side. That's just, it doesn't. I think the Army did the right thing on putting him out. I'd really like to see what the details behind that are.
They're not releasing them.
Nope.
But I can tell you, see, what was it you mentioned before? One of the things that you have to swear in under. Got to remember, it only takes one little thing. Because Army wraps it up very nicely. When you sign that dotted line, you've sworn to some things. And if you break any of those neat little rules, they have a way to get you out. It's just like you can, if you were to go into the military and they asked you the simple questions of your medical background and you fudge on one little thing, You say you had asthma when you were a kid, but you outgrew it, but you didn't tell the military that. And if your medical records show up or something ever comes out that you had asthma as a kid, the military actually has the right at that point to put you out with no benefits and less than honorable because you perjured. It's simple as that. So the military could, they could have gone into a deep investigation and made it, and then probably it would have become very public because I'm sure he would have went and got himself a civilian lawyer, or they just simply said, here, right here, here's where you messed up. You can't refute it. You can't fight it. Get out. And that was the best. That was best all the way around.
Yeah, I mean, because in the article it says he resigned his commission, which he can do.
Yes.
But it also says he was given a less than honorable discharge.
Which means that he was more than likely pressured. And if you think about it, and I'm going to say this very honestly, come on, 10th Mountain Ranger going around and every one of them knows he's a communist. Would, in his position, would he really want to stick around? Come on.
Yeah.
How many of those boys were just sitting there and saying, "Come on, let's do field duty. Let's get deployed."
Yeah. Yeah, that guy's gonna have. I'd say he's gonna have a rough life, but maybe not. Who knows, man?
Well, it even pointed out in the article that he's more than likely going to embed himself with sympathizers, which there are, unfortunately, in the United States. That's part of what we fought for, is the freedom for people like him to spout stupid stuff.
Right.
So.
But hey, I've had a lot of stories out of New York.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
That Fudgy the beer story was out of New York.
Uh-huh.
We had the pizza story out of New Jersey. And then we've got a new graduate of the police academy who was a badass.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
So officer, now he's an officer. Matthias, I'm going to butcher his last name, and I do apologize, sir. Ferriera is celebrating a dream come true. After 29 weeks of training, the 28-year-old resident of Wantagh, New York, graduated from Suffolk County Police Academy, and its first fully active duty double amputee police officer. The Academy said it believed that Ferriera was also the first in the U.S. as well. It's pretty incredible, Ferriera told ABC News. I'm truly honored to be a part of the department. When I first got on, I didn't know how good I would do, maybe having some self-doubts in the beginning. But I had a very supportive staff, very supportive recruit class. Everyone kept pushing me through. He credited his wife, Tiffany, his daughter, Tiana, and family and friends with helping him reach the finish line. He finished as the class president as well as the class speaker. It's really hard to fail at something when somebody's pushing you the whole way. They won't let you quit, so you can't quit on yourself, he said. Ferriera was born in Uruguay, and he moved to the United States when he was 6 years old. He grew up in Atlanta and then joined the Marines. In 2011, while serving in Afghanistan, he stepped on an IED and lost both of his legs below the knees. After rehab, Ferriera joined an all-amputee softball team that plays across the United States. He said today that he was eager to hit the streets as a police officer to see what the future holds for him and his family. The hand we're dealt in life, we just have to take it, adapt, and overcome. So that's what I figured I would do. Once you lose a limb, you think that your life is going to be completely changed. It's really up to you. You know, the technology that's coming out, and with a good attitude, you combine those two, you can do whatever you want. And I think it was about 6 months ago, he made the news as being a candidate in the police academy as a double amputee.
Yeah, he got accepted.
And he succeeded, man. He just graduated. Congratulations to Officer Ferriera.
Way to go, brother. Way to go. Keep showing. That's always good to hear that our brothers and sisters are adapting and overcoming.
Tom Alexander, how does he run the bases? Well, he's got those he's got prosthesis, that tennis shoes. I guess it's just something you got to get used to. I mean, your body will adapt.
It's they make them. They always have to be very individualized, and what they do is they make it so that you can counterbalance and shift. If you notice, he's got on tennis shoes. Depending on normally they give them two type of prosthetics depending on how active they are. They've got some that they can go jogging in, and some that they can actually walk or pace very well with.
I mean, the guy looks fit.
Yeah.
And he's a young man too, so that helps.
That always helps. I mean, he can adapt and get his make sure that his body's ready for it, and that's always a big thing. When you have something like that happen, it used to be pretty easy to give up because they didn't have as good prosthetics as they have these days.
Mm-hmm.
And the prosthetics that they have these days are so phenomenal and adaptive. Some of them are running with chips in them. So they actually have mini computer for movement. And I mean, they're marvels the way that they are. And then the metals and the different metallurgy that they use, the technologies for the flexibility and for the ability to withstand are just great. And the comfort, which is what used to be the big problem with amputees, is that was the big complaint, was that the what would be said, the stump, or the where the amputee would put his life part of him into the prosthetic.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times it was never a good, they try, and that was always what would be the complaint, was the prosthetic was never balanced right, or it was never, the material just was too much, and it even though they'd scar up and they'd start having callousing, it still would cause problems. But nowadays, because of technology and the accuracy and the ability to mold and really fine it down to the point where, I've got a little tiny bit here that hurts, they can actually refine it to the point where it's really comfortable for these guys.
Right. Hey, keep talking for a second. I'll be back.
Okay. So no, this is great. And I hope that we're going to be seeing more of this, because these guys are, there are a lot of amputees out there, both arm and leg. There's quadruple amputees out there that want to function and want to be able to do more, and they don't want to be sitting in wheelchairs. And they have the right to move forward. And we have the technology out there. It's just getting the technology to the guys and marrying the technology up with what's coming forward. I mean, every time we have a war, our technology takes a major leap forward, because not just because of the weapons, but because of the medical. The medical aspects come from war, from out in the field, and from rehabilitation. What we're doing now actually helps civilians as we develop it, and as we adapt, they get the technology too.
Yeah, technology has come so far as far as prosthetics.
Oh yes. It used to be that I can even remember before they even had the bendables. In other words, the bendable joints. You didn't even have bendable joints. Basically, it was a peg leg, just a little prettier. But now they actually have the bend. Then came the bendables. Now comes the actual anticipation bendable. It anticipates the movement of your foot, so it actually looks like a regular leg when you walk. At worst, you look like you're limping a little.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder, and when I saw the picture, I'm like, I wonder how he marches or how well he marches.
Well, that's the thing is depending on which series he got and what he had his leg made for. Because remember, he probably wants to be able to run in these legs to catch people. So I'm at that point. It depending on how they had to make it as to how well it adapts to march versus what he needs it for, which is walking and running.
Good on him, though, man. It's just, he set himself a goal and he achieved it.
It's a positive, and it's a positive on all of us, and it's something to say, hey, come on, guys. There's another one of us, our brothers and sisters out there that has made it.
Yeah, he's like, what's your excuse? I don't have any legs.
Exactly. I'm sure that came up once or twice when someone sat there and say, "Man, I'm having a hard time." He says, "Yeah, I know what you mean."
The dude with no legs beat me at the 2-mile run.
Oh, I'm sure, but but there's no shame in it because I'm sure he put in a lot of effort and was ready before he went.
And he said even when he was when he was going to school, he says he didn't want any special treatment at all.
Well, no, and none of us would. I'm not anything like him. There's always someone worse. There's always someone better. I'm not like him, but I've shied away from any kind of help in my life for my problems.
Even Amanda said, "Yeah, tell him about how bad your day was."
Exactly.
And I'm amazed. So, I've met some wounded veterans, and it's just a thing.
Yeah.
And it, for the most part, they're not down on themselves.
No, I mean, that's the whole thing, and that's when we were talking about war horses. That's the whole idea, is to get you out of your head and to get you to realize it's nothing but a thing. You can overcome it.
On the War Horses website, they have a guy that just went through who didn't have legs. He was wheelchair bound.
Jeez. And people sit there and they talk about how awful that must be. And I've talked to some of those guys, and they sit there and say, after having this, you realize that it could be a lot worse because you appreciate what you have. I mean, shoot, I saw an article this week about a quadruple amputee. And you just have to sit there and think, the ability to just even itch your nose. I mean, the things that you take for granted, this guy has to figure out and retrain. And he's got a good attitude, so why can't I? And that's part of it, is just you have to decide. You have to make the decision. If it's going to affect you, that's a decision. It's your choice. If it's not going to affect you, power on. So that's great. I mean, that's a good story, and that's really a good thing, a good way to think about things. Yeah, as Amanda said, people need to realize it's not over until you stop breathing. And I'll add one on there. It's not even over then. You can still keep fighting, trust me. I've had those days.
So I neglected to make my last slide, so I'm making that on the fly here.
Okay.
I thought I had made this one, but I guess I didn't.
That's okay. Like I said, every day we can talk and we can joke, and we're here for you guys. So as long as we're talking and as long as we're keeping you smiling, the stories will come, and it doesn't matter if we put up graphics or just sit here and tell you what's going on in the world. So you want me to? Are you talking about the Boston Red Sox?
Yeah, the baseball.
Yeah. Okay. And you came up with the graphics.
Yeah. I had it. I just didn't make the slide.
Well, the Boston Red Sox fans caused an unusual delay Wednesday night in the 7th inning against the Detroit Tigers. Fans using their cell phone lights during the Tigers at bat were apparently distracting the batters during the inning. Tigers player Nick Castana, I'm gonna butcher this name.
Castellanos
alerted umpire Mike Demuro about the lights, which prompted Ron Gardenhire to come out to try and get it to stop. You even tried to hit with a light like that in your face? It's not supposed to happen, Gardenhire said after the 7-1 loss. The umpires should have, in my opinion, stopped it right away. They see it happen. It's right in dead center field. Red Sox security asked fans in the center field bleachers to stop using their phones as flashlights, and play continued. I keep losing my place for some reason. Oh, I know why. Whoa, no wonder I was paging the wrong way. Castellanos singled to center later in at the bat. The fans are just having fun. I get it. But when it's in dead center field, my hitters are looking right into it. It's dangerous, Gardenhire said. It's very dangerous if you're even been trying to hit with a light in your face. So we just couldn't let that happen.
I can see it being a distraction.
I can see it being a distraction. I can't see it being enough to sit there and get upset about it. I mean, it's kind of the whole, is it, how bad? I mean, it'd be one thing if someone was sitting there using a spotlight or a laser, because that truly is more than a distraction. That's disruptive and just downright mean. But having the lights on, I'm looking at that and I'm just sitting there going, okay, you look at it for a second and say, okay, fine. But then you should be focusing on that ball and it shouldn't really bother you that much. So I don't know. That's just my opinion. I'm not a baseball player. I'm not getting millions of dollars to play ball.
And I tend to agree, man. The fans are just having fun. Yeah, it is kind of a dick move.
Yeah. And I mean, come on. It's a dick move on both sides, if you ask me. One, okay, he laugh it off and say, ha, you had your fun. But the fans, come on, guys. I mean, it's just a game. Going that far, that borderlines on being bad fans. I mean, let's have some sportsmanship. Let's make it a good, fun game, not a let's see what we can do to trip people up. I mean, when you see a win, you want to see a win for the true game of it. You want to see someone win because they truly earned it, not someone get it because of a technicality or someone being able to say, "Hey, man, the fans, man, they distracted me, man."
Yeah, you're responsible for yourself. At least they're not like Philadelphia Eagles fans, chunking D-cell batteries at you.
Yeah, I mean that was thoroughly uncalled for. I mean, but come on, people. I mean, either side is kind of sounding a little whiny. This is a sport. People are supposed to be having fun. People are supposed to go there to just sit back, relax, and enjoy. This is not about how you can be a dick. And this is not about how you can sit there and take your bad day out on someone else. If you want to do that, go to the gym. Take your anger out on the weights.
Yeah.
Just my opinion.
Well, cool, man. Well, I think I'm going to wrap it up, dude. But I didn't want to wrap up without telling you what we have on tap for this week and a little bit into next week. 11 June, Chris White and Bobby Henline from Freedom Hard are going to be on the show. That's going to happen tomorrow during ICE's show. Freedom Hard was founded in 2017, veteran-owned and veteran-operated, based in Texas. Their mission is to use humor as a platform to display patriotism. On 12 June, Joanna Mendoza is going to be here. Retired United States Marine Corps and Navy veteran. She's going to be here. She was in the Navy for a stint, and then she got out, and then she went into the Marine Corps and was a drill instructor at Parris Island.
She's
And
badass.
then she also served as in the Marine Officer Candidate School in Quantico, Virginia, as a sergeant instructor transforming women into Marine officers. In 2017, she released her first book entitled Esprit de Corps, Guiding Principles and Spirituality from Modern Marine Teams. She is currently a military and veteran advisor for Pima County Community College and has been advocating and raising money to combat homelessness among female veterans.
Good for her.
So she'll be on Tuesday with the Minx. On the 18th, we have Kelly Kennedy, who is an author and a journalist. Kelly Kennedy is the best-selling author of a book entitled They Fought for Each Other, The Triumph and Tragedy of the Hardest Hit Unit in Iraq. And she is the co-author of Kate Germano's Fight Like a Girl, The Truth Behind How Female Marines Are Trained. An award-winning journalist, Kelly embedded in both Iraq and Afghanistan and served as the military reporters and editors' first female president. She is the only American woman to have both served in the United States military and covered U.S. combat operations as a civilian. She served in Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia during Operation Desert Storm, and then in Mogadishu, Somalia in 92 and 93.
Wow.
That's a tough gig.
Yeah, no kidding. Right?
She also spent several years at USA Today covering the Affordable Care Act as well as veterans issues such as Gulf War illness and the burn pits. She is working on a rewrite of her first novel as well as a nonfiction book about the Civil War. Kennedy's career began when she joined the Army at age 17 as a way to pay for her college education and to become a journalist. Good on her, man. It's going to be a good show. See, we got Rob O'Neill coming up on 19 June. Rob O'Neill from the Facebook page called Bay Pines Exposed is a retired employee from the Bay Pines VA, and he'll be on to talk about the mistreatment of veterans at the Bay Pines VA.
Wow.
They had been on local and national news several times for their neglect and mistreatment of veterans. Some of these stories ranged from a dead veteran who was stored in a shower instead of being transported to the morgue to veterans going without heat at the VA building that they were seeking treatment in. Rob will be giving us the inside scoop on these stories and more.
Oh boy.
So that'll be a good show.
That'll be loaded.
Because
sure.
everyone, and I'll say this forever, your VA experiences will vary by your location and your attitude.
Amen to that.
That's just the way it is, man. I've got a great VA center. I've heard horror stories about others. I'm going through some VA crap right now. I didn't sign. I filed an appeal, and all my paperwork came back, and they're like, "Well, you forgot to sign this line." So I signed that line, and I resent the paperwork to them, and then they sent me that paperwork back, and they're like, "This is incomplete."
Oh, jeez.
So I'm fighting with that, and it sucks. I don't have time to really dedicate. I'm gonna have to find time to dedicate to that. But it's just hard to find time with this house thing.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of, for those of you that don't know, this will be Koz's and mine last show for a couple Sundays, and it's mainly Koz is moving and wants to take the time to make sure that he can move everything over. He has to pack up his studio.
Yeah, I've got all kinds of. Tomorrow's my closing day. And then in a week, I'll get the keys, and then I've got a busy week at work, so I can't really do anything then. And then I'm going to be taking some time off of my paying job, and there's no real way that I can produce a show and then get all that stuff done. I got to break all this the electronic stuff down. So I think I might be back on the 8th. Highly unlikely, so definitely by the 15th. So I don't know if someone's going to step up and do a show, or I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
We'll see what happens, but just to let you know, that if worse comes to worse, Koz and I will be back on or around the 15th of next month.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be around. I'll be around for everyone's show. It's just I can't.
You can't produce your own.
I can't produce.
Yeah, and that's okay. We especially the fact you need your own house. So
hey, Red Leg hasn't gone anywhere, Tom. he just doesn't have a show.
Yep. And then let's go ahead and let's talk about housekeeping for starting on Mondays. Tuesdays with Minx and Grey Cloud. On Wednesdays, we have our Donza, although KJ and Hodor, especially this week, will be gaming. They're actually having competition this week, teams and everything. The trash talk started. Come Thursday, we have Sergeant's Time with Ike and Doc Madness, where they talk all things active duty and veterans. Friday is Friday Night Freedom with Minx and Pookie. Just a good time sitting back and getting you ready for the weekend. Saturday is Saturday Night Savagery with Jay Reddy and Pookie, where they talk all things conspiracy, and they will go outside the box.
That was a great show last night, too.
Yeah, it was. And then we come back to Sunday, which is Kicking It with Koz, and with Al, which is me, Al. We basically try to kick back, talk about anything need to know, anything enjoyable, and just something to get you to smile. But that's our week.
All right, guys. You have a great week, man. It's Sunday. People usually hate Mondays. I like Mondays. I love my job, so I can't wait to get back at it tomorrow. Awesome. Check out War Horses for Veterans, man. Serious. Do it. All right, guys. You guys have a good night. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye. Shots.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
For the truth is that Team America fights for the billion-dollar corporations. They are just as bad as the enemies they fight. Oh, no, we aren't. We're dicks.
This is WTF Nation Radio.